All right, everybody, welcome to the Thursday Night Forum. Arsenal fan circle here. Pull up the chair. You're all welcome. And we are Premier League champions. Let's say it one more time. We're Premier League champions 25-26. Yes. Uh, Want to give a shout out to actually a local Arsenal fan. You know when you win your Premier League champions, you want to celebrate, you want to extend it. So we had a local festival here. I saw this dude walking around in an Arsenal shirt, so I went up and had a conversation with him, and so he joined. He subscribed to the podcast, so he might join us tonight. His name is Jim. Welcome him if he comes in the chat. So, with that, how are you, Alonso? Welcome to the show.
Yeah, hello Ray, hello Stan, hello BX. Yeah, so I too have friends, coworkers who are Arsenal fans, a little bit younger than me. So I gave my friend Cody, I saw him like I gave him a channel, right, for my phone. So hopefully he'll be in the chat box as well. But yeah, I mean, like, I run into Arsenal fans at work all the time with their jerseys on, so I talk to them about Arsenal sometimes, and it's always good chat, I guess.
Great time to be an Arsenal fan. We've
Mhm.
waited for this moment, right? So let's bask in it a little bit, and of course we'll be asking. Well, we waited about 5 minutes, but we'll be asking more critical questions for this summer and for this new season. Stan, how you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Bit of back trouble still, playing up again, but other than that, I'm fine. Got nice weather here in Vancouver. Mrs. is away in Ontario for a couple of weeks,
Okay.
which means I get to do whatever I want. And if she was here, she would go, "You do what you want anyway."
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. And you choose to come on Arsenal Fan Circle and talk about Arsenal. So thank you. That's what that is. That's the highest recommendation you can ever have. If you're allowed to do whatever you want and you join us on the podcast, that's not bad. I'll
no,
take that. You know. All right, Alonso. Are we equipped to repeat? Is the question of the day.
I believe so. I think that little by little during this, would you say, project, I think that Arsenal have gotten their players, mainly depth players, and Arteta's not afraid to make changes when necessary, right? Before we depended too much on our starting 11, they get burnt out or get injured and play injured. And we're at a point now where at Arsenal, they're making critical signings, um, and they look pretty good so far. Like Stan would always say, Bruno going Bears, you know. We got Toulouse, and you got a goalkeeper from Leeds who looks like he's going to be the third choice goalkeeper, or maybe the second. But yeah, I mean, so far so good. We need a little bit more signings. But yeah, I mean, if we got a big game coming up on Sunday, I believe, against Manchester City,
Yeah.
and that game will say a lot about how our backups look, because I highly doubt that Rice and Saka and all those guys from the World Cup from Spain are going to come in and wanting to play straight away. Knowing that Rice and Saka got carried injuries, um, Zubimendi and Moreno played in the final, and Raya played third choice goalkeeper, if I'm correct. So I assume that they'll be ready in the first game of the season. Um, but yeah, I can't wait to see them how they play how they look on Sunday, and go from there, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I think depth is really important,
Yeah.
and whenever players aren't playing, and then rumors happen whenever they say, well, yeah, you got so and so going here, so and so going there. So rumors, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but yeah, it's just frustrating as a fan.
Yeah, I mean, it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science, but I did say, having a long season in which Mikel Arteta needed to rotate the squad as best as possible, and leading into a World Cup with many, many of our best players being prominent for their countries. Not ideal preparation for the coming season, but we did win the Premier League title last season. But I'm going to, whilst you were a little bit positive there, Alonso, I'm going to sound a couple of worrying um, calls for me. I don't know what we're doing in some areas on the pitch. We have some players in place, as you mentioned, Alonso, but I'm a little bit worried about what we're doing in the transfer market right now. I'm not going to lie about that. Happy that we dodged Morgan Rogers. Uh, would have been awesome and brilliant if we could have gotten Vinny Jr., but we did get, as Stan calls them, Bruno Gummy Bears. And so, yeah, I just have a cautionary note for the next 2-3 weeks. Who are we going to get in? Who's going to be the extra few signings? Because, as you said, Alonso, no Declan Rice, no Bukayo Saka, and Saliba will be out for a large part of the season. So that's just my. I'm not usually cautious as well. I'm usually positive. So, so one and one here. Me and Alonso. Stan, what are you thinking?
Well, it's only a couple of weeks now, isn't it, until the window closes? I think it closes on the 31st of August.
Yes.
And if anyone is going to come in, it means that they're not really going to be able to have a pre-season with us. I don't know. I think Mikel Arteta likes to try and get people in as quickly as possible. But we have a lot of money to spend. But the pool of players that we can go to that will improve us. The better we get, that pool gets smaller, which means that probably deals will take a little bit longer to get done. And it always, when they say you hear reports saying that people behind the scenes are working around the clock to get deals done. I mean, I've worked in sales nearly all of my life, and I do feel that if you want to make a deal, then you should be able to make a deal. I don't understand why you have to talk to intermediaries and feel out a player. Just go to the club and say this is the player that we're interested in and make a bid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, the Bruno Gummy Bears is a good example. It was obvious that Arsenal wanted the player and the player wanted to come. But I don't understand why it just took so long to get a deal done.
And then
you have an idea of what the selling club is asking for. So, when you see tweets or posts on social media saying deal is almost done, but a bid hasn't been placed yet, what does that mean? Doesn't really mean anything, does it?
Yeah, you would see tweets like there has been no direct club-to-club contact for the player. Arsenal have not officially inquired about the player. And then you think about how the news was that Newcastle were holding out for more than 75 million, the reported 75 million. In the end, it all seemed to be pretty cut and dry, pretty quickly done. And Newcastle, maybe Newcastle learned the lessons from last season with Isak and not waiting until the last moments of the window. That, Bruno was, we did sign Bruno Guimaraes with Newcastle having time to reinforce their ranks as well.
Gummy bears.
Gummy bears, exactly. Welcome, Tony. BX Gunner said, I've just sat down for dinner. Perfect pairing. Greetings, everyone. And I'm curious how Arteta approaches the Community Shield. Will he give Rice and Saka more time off and be ready to start against Coventry? I personally believe that we won't see Rice or Saka for Coventry either. That's what I feel anyway. These players have to be given some time, and unfortunately, when you're the best in the land, the international teams will come. You're representing the best international teams, and that's their season has gone into the middle of July. You know, and yeah, I heard Harry Symeou and other people criticizing Dec- Declan Rice's involvement in a third, fourth playoff place for England, which was just one extra match, but really he looked dead, dead on his heels. Konza will be 50, 55 million with add-ons is my guess. It's gonna, yeah, and listen, what you would think, I always thought Konza was a pretty average player, but you got to spend 50 to 55 million to get him, you know? So,
Prices are insane anymore.
Tony, I'll go to you then since you joined here. Um, what are your thoughts on the summer business so far? Are we ready to, are we equipped to repeat and
No.
challenge to win the league again?
Nope.
All right, what do we need? In your opinion, what do we need, Tony?
Right back.
You need defensive cover. You need it. But both fullback positions. I think you need it. You then need a. I think you still need a backup striker. You need an elite left winger. I think we would have won the Champions League last year if we did that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So 2 fullbacks, a striker, and a winger.
Yeah.
All right, Stan. What do you break that down, Stan? What do you think? I definitely think we need right back cover. Ben White and Timber are dodgy with injuries. We need to maybe address the left wing if Martinelli is indeed going to get sold. That's those 2 key positions for me, anyway.
Yeah, I think I don't know if we need 2 fullbacks. I think we're quite covered on the left-hand side. I think we're covered on the left centre back area and the left back area. But I would definitely think that the one position that we really need something is on the left wing.
Mm-hmm.
I would actually say the left wing, somebody through the middle, and someone to cover in the defence. Because if you're going to get cover for defence, I mean, if you're going to get a backup, what does that actually mean? Because when everybody is fit, we'll have a player that will maybe not get as many minutes unless you're bringing in someone that's going to challenge for a place. Are we really going to buy someone that's going to be able to, that's going to challenge Saliba so that even when Saliba is back and he's fit, could potentially keep him out? Or is that person's job done as soon as Saliba gets back? And then how does that work? You know what I mean?
I didn't see him.
What, Tony? What did you say?
He was definitely not talking to us,
Right.
was
So
not talking to
I think whenever you have 2 good right backs that are often hurt,
Yeah.
you gotta bring in a right back from the academy or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we have Mascara.
Okay,
Mascara's still young.
Yep.
And had there been a good right back, we were in the Champions League.
Yeah, like the one that wasn't injured or injury prone. We got wore down there.
Yeah.
That way.
And so I think defensively, if we had a healthy right back, we win the Champions League. Because Martinelli is just so hot and cold. However, I think that Martinelli's best competition was the Champions League last year. So it's very frustrating because Martinelli can come on any time and make a difference. However, it hasn't been consistent. But left wing is really a position that Arsenal should invest in, and Konza should be brought in as well because we've been linked for him. Arsenal have been linked to him for a while now, and I think he should be a good backup for Saliba. So it's just tough because Mosquera can also play right back as well.
Yeah.
And so, and look, good Crush is our striker, right? And Havertz and Marino can also play there as well. And I think they're better off in that position because I don't see Havertz playing midfield more so than he is as a striker. So I think to me the most important positions are center back and left wing, and also maybe right back.
Yeah, I think I would pinpoint the right back position. I see Stan sort of thinking through this situation. Let's look at the back four though. I would tend to go for a backup right back because I think, as Stan you have said, Alonso's alluded to as well. Um, you need a player that's going to be there and be available and play numerous games this season. And I think in the right back area, Mosquera can cover that Saliba position for a time, but we would need some right back cover, Stan. What do you think?
Well, Alonso mentioned that we've got two right backs that are constantly injured, and if that is the case, then I would say, why are we keeping them? Why are we going to keep players, no matter how much we might like them, but if they're not consistently available,
Yeah.
it's no good.
The best ability is availability.
Yeah,
Be
it's no
able
good.
to ready to go on the team sheet. BX Gunner says here, got to be ruthless. I agree with you, BX Gunner. We've got to be ruthless, go back to back, go for the best available. In my lifetime, I've never seen Arsenal repeat winning the Premier League title.
No, the last time that we did that was in the 1930s.
Yeah.
None of us
I'm not that old. Despite what you think, Tony, I'm not that old. I'm not in my 90s. So
No.
I would like Arsenal to be ruthless. I would like Mikel Arteta to be ruthless. But yeah, I mean, it's not my decision. There's some players that we have been talked about, and this transfer window is weird in terms of we're hearing about Zubimendi, we're hearing about Miles Lewis Skelly, Martinelli, and Mikel Arteta wanting to be ruthless, but I think we need a few more pieces to the jigsaw before we can actually kick a ball in anger next Friday night.
Yeah, and Zubimendi to me is like, is that just him wanting first team football?
I think that even if you bring in Bruno Guimaraes and you have Declan Rice, there's going to be periods in the season where there's going to be injuries. They're going to pick up injuries, and Zubimendi would be needed in that situation. You definitely, it's going to be two positions that would need to be interchanged. Odegaard would probably play a bigger role this season as well. So definitely I want to be ruthless, but Zubimendi and the rumors, and they may just be rumors from Chelsea, of Zubimendi going to Chelsea. Arsenal set a tag of 75 million for Zubimendi, so I think we can safely think that he's not going to go to Chelsea. Then you hear about Manchester City wanting Enzo Fernandez from Chelsea. So what's going on in the Premier League right now? There seems to be a lot of wheeling and dealing in the last 10, 12 days before the season starts.
I'm just not so keen on players staying at a club for 1 year.
Yeah.
No matter how good or bad they are, because Zubimendi was good the first half of the year, but due to Arteta's not rotating enough,
Yep.
he got burnt out.
Overplaying them.
And
Yep.
we're going to need every player this year because of the scheduling of the cup games, Premier League games. So Arteta's wanting more, as do we, us fans. So everyone's going to have to play a part, and people will get hurt in this season. I mean, it's it is what it is. So they're gonna need everyone to step up their game if they want to repeat and do well in Champions League, do well in the FA Cup and League Cup games. It's just reality.
Yeah.
And also, we had two good young players from the academy playing really well in the preseason, in Dominic and Salmon. So,
Yeah.
I think whatever happens in transfer market, Berta and Arteta are going to make things happen, make some moves to make this team better.
Definitely. BX said we really don't know how long Saliba will be out. Better to be safe than sorry. I think Saliba could miss 15 to 20 games this season. And you miss 15 to 20 games, you're probably going to concede about 8 more goals this season. And we're going to have to counter that by being able to score more goals, I believe. Anyway.
You never know what a back is going to do. You don't know how to respond to rest and
Treatment. Exactly.
But you say that, Ray, but we have improved in the midfield area as well, which, with a stronger midfield, that will help the defence.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Someone like Zubimendi, I don't know why we would even entertain selling him.
Exactly.
We've not even had an opportunity to see the best of him. There was definitely a good football player in there. And so with the addition of Bruno and someone like Marino coming back into the fold, we should be able to get our players through more games just because we've got more bodies and time can be shared rather than running these players into the ground.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all of the opinion that Zubimendi having a full season under his belt now, he'll be stronger in the second season. Coupled with Bruno is coming and playing less games.
He started getting better near the end of the year again,
He got
too.
tired, Tony.
Wow, the other way around.
No, he had a dip in like January, February, then he picked up.
Wow.
I remember. I think it was March where he had that real bad game. Apologized to the fans, and then had probably his best game at Arsenal. The next match, his problem was Norgard wasn't used.
Yeah.
Norgard was used more minutes in the last Premier League game than the entire season.
See, I don't often agree with you.
Showed up.
I don't often agree with you, but it has a knock-on effect when you don't play somebody like Norgard. It affects Zubimendi, who's getting all of those minutes.
And that was my criticism last year. I feel like we went out, got Arteta all the tools he needed, did all the late business with getting other players in, more cover, and we just didn't utilize those players like we should have.
And Tony, I know you will be monitoring the minutes of every player in the first 2 months, so you'll be able to pick a player to champion throughout the season. We'd be like, Calafiori's not getting enough minutes. Arteta's not rotating properly. But it was a valid point that Norgard didn't get enough minutes, but he's moved on now. We basically replaced Norgard with Bruno Guimaraes.
But Tony, Ray, Tony will say, he'll say, who you just mentioned, Calafiori isn't good enough.
Yeah, but Norgard was. And I think Calafiori might be a better footballer than Norgard. Just saying. City moving to add another 100 million signing in Enzo. Matt, Stan, why would Chelsea sell to City?
Well, they've said to City that if you do want to make a deal, it's got to be done by tomorrow at 5 o'clock. They've put their price out, so they're entertaining it. But after 1 minute past 5 tomorrow, if a bid isn't made, then they won't contemplate a sale until the following year.
For 120 million. That's crazy.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. Listen, I do applaud Arsenal in the fact that they know they have a price in their head that they're willing to go to such as Morgan Rogers. But they won't go beyond that price. You know what I
Well,
mean?
you say that, but when it came to Vinny Junior, it looked like there was an open checkbook.
Who?
Vinny Junior. When all of that was
Well,
going on, you know,
yeah.
it seemed that they would make it happen, and they would, you know, move the earth, no matter what, to bring him in.
Yeah, I would imagine, Stan, there's probably only 5 players in the world that they would have done that for. Not even 5, maybe 3 that they would have done that for. You know what I mean? Do you think it was optics, or it was definitely on the table, right? But if Vinny hadn't got a contract to sign with Real Madrid, wasn't able to, then he would have come to Arsenal.
Well, I was thinking about this, and you know, usually when I speak to other Arsenal fans and you see the temperature online, if Arsenal are interested in a player, usually it's like, you know, we only want players to come into Arsenal that want to come to Arsenal. However, you know, Vinny Junior, we were kind of like his backup. You know, if he couldn't get a deal with Real Madrid, then he would highly consider coming to Arsenal. And I get it because, you know, he is a special player, perhaps, but we seem to be doing the same thing again now with Julian Alvarez. You know, where Julian Alvarez has his heart set on going to Barcelona. He doesn't have his heart set on coming to Arsenal.
No.
So, you know, as good as maybe these players are, you know, which one is it? Do we only want players that want to come to Arsenal, or are we happy if we're a second spot for a player?
Yeah.
Maybe there's a deal to be done where you can say to Julian Alvarez, look, come to us for a couple of years, and then after a couple of years, you know, we're open to you moving on to somewhere else if that's what you really want to do.
Yeah, and
There'd be some sort of a gentleman's agreement, but there's no guarantee that in 2 years' time Barcelona may not even want that player anymore. They may have moved on and done other things, and you know, that space is gone. There's never any guarantees, right?
Never.
No.
Never.
Yeah, but just also was what you said. You know, we've let Christian Norgard go, and I've always said that I don't care who we sell, as long as the person coming in is an upgrade. And you'd have to say that Bruno is definitely an upgrade, and he's not going to have the Norgard role. He's not going to be waiting in the wings. You know, he's going to be a starter.
He's going to start most games. Yeah.
You know, unless it's rotation, giving other players a rest, depending on tactics, whether we have a single pivot or a double pivot. So I'm quite pleased with that. But you know, we've let Trossard go. We brought in Christoph Solis.
Yeah.
But is he going to be a starter on the left? It
He looks
look
quite
like
bright.
But he isn't the chosen anointed person for the left wing, because at one point we were looking at bringing in Vinny Junior, which you would imagine that Solis would have to play second fiddle for.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that indicates to me that as you know, as much as they probably like Solis, or else they wouldn't have spent that money on him. Like 40 million is a lot of money. They don't see him as a nailed-on starter, you know, and the leader for that position. So something has to get done. Otherwise, we wouldn't. You know, otherwise, the club would just be happy with Martinelli and Solis to share that position. But they're obviously not. You know, we're contemplating letting Martinelli go. I think there's been a £38 million bid for him from Galatasaray. But you know, Martinelli holds all of the cards. If he doesn't want to go to play his football in Turkey, if he sees that as going to that league as a step down, I mean, he's just won the Premier League as well. Yeah, you know, he's got a taste for being at a successful team. If he doesn't want to go to a Saudi Arabia, he won't go. And it's the same with Gabriel Jesus. You know, apparently Napoli are very interested in him, but from what one article that I was reading, in order for that to happen, Gabriel Jesus would have to, you know, take a cut in his salary, and he's still got a contract good to go until next summer. So why would you do that? If you're looking at the player, no matter how much he's enjoyed playing at Arsenal, he knows that come January, if nothing happens this summer, come January, he's free to talk to any other club outside of the Premier League to get a deal done. And if there's no transfer fee, that benefits him financially, because, you know, they could use money that would have gone to a transfer to maintain the salary that he's on. And at the end of the day, no matter how much me and you would say, oh, I'd love to play for Arsenal, I'll do it for free. With footballers, it's not really like that. It's their job. You know what I mean? You can have somebody that works at a bank for 5 years and they're really happy working for that bank. But if another bank from across the road offers them a job and offers them a 30 or 40% pay rise, you'd go to that bank. You're not going to go, well, you know, I really love it at Barclays, so I'm just going to stay here. It's a job.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it might be difficult to move on players like Gabriel Jesus and Martinelli if it's not something that they feel is a good step for their career.
Yeah. It's funny, I was just, as you were saying all that, I was just thinking about Andrea Berta's, his method may be, remember last season, who did we sign first and pretty quickly? First out of the gate for 50 million. It was maybe a player, Madueke, right? And it was a player maybe we thought, oh, we don't really need him. We couldn't figure out. He's not the primary target. And we have a similar thing happen on the left wing pretty soon and pretty quickly this summer as well in Solus, the Greek international, who has looked bright in preseason. Probably the best part of our preseason so far. We haven't won any or many games at all in this preseason, which is a minor concern. We'd like to be winning games and building confidence going into a new season. But maybe that's the way we're going to operate, you know, Andrea Berta. And, you know, we did splash a little bit at the end toward the end of the window last summer as well in Eze and, you know, those kinds of players. Gyökeres came pretty late as well in the window. So maybe there's something still they're working on for that left wing, you know. As Stan said, maybe it's what's his name from Atletico Madrid, Julian Alvarez. BX, yeah, the news of Osimhen is dropping as well. These are all the rumors that are swirling around right now. The news today about Osimhen teased me harder than a stripper with Passis. I think Bruno was like another.
I was hearing about him like Saturday or Sunday.
Osimhen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's the kind of player who could come back, you know, into one of the bigger leagues in Europe. You know, he's been away. Didn't he have some issues in Italy?
Yeah.
Okay, so he had some issues with the manager in Italy. Truthfully, I think the club was content with the business, but the prospect and opportunity to land a top-tier player presented himself. The club could not resist, and that was Vinny Jr. You know, Kroenkes are showing their ambition.
But what does it tell you? I mean, if you're looking at someone like a Victor Osimhen, he plays for the middle, okay? So we already have Gyökeres, we already have Havertz. We've got Jesus. There's no guarantee that Jesus is going to find a new home this summer. You know, he's on over 250 grand a week, his wages, which would be nice to move off, but there's no guarantees he's going to go. We also have a Mikel Marina that can play in that position. So, if bearing all of that in mind, if we're looking at someone, let's say a Victor Osimhen or a Julian Alvarez, that tells me that irrespective of who the people that I've just named, the coaching staff or the manager believe that we're still lacking in that area.
Yeah.
Because that wouldn't be something that would be on the top of our mind if it wasn't. Even if Gabriel Jesus did leave, we still have 3 players that can play in that position because we play a 1-striker system. We don't play a 2-striker system. So we don't need to have 4 strikers, maybe 5 right for 2 positions. We only got the 1.
Who's the younger striker that we've been linked to? He's kind of a Giroud type build, a bigger guy. I think he's like 21, 22, something like that.
From where?
Been linked to somebody like that, huh?
Yeah. I can't remember from where.
I mean, I don't know. It was either Jokeres or that other player last season who went to
Sesko.
Manchester Sesko. But I don't think that's the one you're talking about. I don't. Sesko's the only
No.
build that I kind of think that that reminds
No.
me of what you're talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll
There
have
was
to look.
Vlahovic a few years ago, but I don't think you're talking about Vlahovic.
No. Like I said, he's 21, 22, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Don't know who that is.
Zolas, they say Zolas looks to be the real deal. His work ethic and gameplay are great. He's eager to make a splash. So, speak a little bit about Zolas. I mean, yeah, we don't want him to be like we're going from Vinny Jr. That's too much pressure to put on a kid, right? Going from Vinny Jr. to that, Stan.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, the expectation of the fans would be we're looking to sign Vinny Jr. and are we going to roll with Zolas then to start the season? You know, that would be underwhelming.
Well, not if he hits the ground running and performs. You soon forget about Vinny Jr. Right? It's down to the plan. Someone like Solis, he always wanted the move to come to Arsenal. I think as soon as there were links, he had a suitcase packed by the door, had an Uber booked, and he was ready to move. And someone like him, he's coming to Arsenal. He wants to make a good impression, and you can see that in the pre-season friendlies that he wants to establish himself. But is it enough? You know, is Martinelli and Solis enough for that left wing? It doesn't seem like it if they were willing to go for Vinny. I think we've lost Ray.
Yep.
I think all that time, Stan, he wanted to go. He just wanted to stay at Madrid. I think Arsenal put out a good plan for Vinny, but you never know what happened. It's just I think he wanted to see how it is with Marino being a coach, but you know, it would have been good to have him at Arsenal, but I don't know.
I mean, it's not about the money, is it? I mean, we would have been able to have matched or improved anything that he had at Madrid. I mean, those image rights are worth about 300, 400 grand extra. You know, which if we were willing to give him 100% of his rights, that would have gone into his pocket. So I don't think financially it would have been an offer, but it must just be about reputation. And in his mind, you know, he thinks that Real Madrid is a bigger club to be at, even though they've not won anything in a couple of seasons.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Brian Marwood back in the day and Anders Limpar, you know, Freddie Lundberg as well. These were players that the fans had not known. So, you know, I'm definitely not shutting the door on Zolas. I think he could be a very exciting prospect and score lots. He could score Trossard amount of goals for us and be the Trossard replacement that we hope that he can be, you know?
But why can't he score more? I mean, someone like Trossard is at the age where they're kind of, they've you know, what they're going to give to you is kind of like plateaued.
Yeah.
He's kind of reached his limit, and it's probably just a little bit past his peak, where someone like Solis is yet to hit their peak. You know, there's improvement that can come, and you know, if the coach, you know, that's down to the coaching staff to help to improve that player.
Yeah. Somebody like Jeremy Doku, who's come from Belgian football and has been with City for a couple of seasons now, you know, he's definitely shown some end product on the field. So maybe Zolas, maybe we don't expect so much from him this season, but he can definitely grow into the role and be useful signing in the coming season. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame that Martinelli is in a position now where he could be surplus to requirements. How many seasons has Martinelli been with us now? It's been for some time, right? It's been for at least, 6 years?
7
years?
seasons, yeah.
7 years, and his contribution has been very inconsistent. You know, there were times when he has scored some really important goals for us
Up and down.
and really looked the business. But
Hey, Gary.
hi Gary, but to be able to maintain that, he hasn't really been able to show a lot of consistency. And I think that he's had a lot of backing from the fans, Martinelli. I mean, he really announced himself, didn't he? In the game that I remember at the beginning of his career for us was the one against Chelsea, where he got to run away with the ball up the field, you know. And there was a lot of hope for Martinelli. But in the league last year and the season before, he was lacking. You know, and it did seem that out of him and Trossard, neither one of them was able to really stake, that place for the left wing as their own. It seemed to be open for all of the season, and they both had opportunities to get good minutes and to put us, to stake their claim for that position. Neither one of them was really able to do that.
Yeah. With Martinelli, I think it's 40 million, 45 million we're trying to get Galatasaray to commit to. And part of that is because Arsenal pay such high wages, and Martinelli's been there 7 or 8 seasons that he's now got a contract in excess of 200,000 a week, I think it is.
So, as much as that, is it?
How is people like Martinelli and Jesus making 100 grand more than Gabriel is?
Well, Gabriel Jesus came from City when they were, he was a big player for them when he came from City. He did help us, albeit, half a season. He did help us lift from outside the Champions League places to being in the Champions League. And when you're in the Champions League, we've seen the benefit of that, though. We've seen the benefit of being in the Champions League and gathering that money, putting the money in the coffers that we can now entertain bidding for.
Especially since it's the Champions League now, right?
What?
It's that, especially since it's the Champions League now.
Yeah.
It is a league.
Yeah. It is a Super League almost. Martinelli and Saka are the longest tenured players, says BX Gunner. Saliba was signed when we signed Martinelli, but was sent out on loan. Martinelli will be here for another couple of seasons. If Martinelli's here for another couple of seasons, that means we have not brought in the marquee left wing player that we were craving, really. The consistency. Like a Mark Overmars type of player, Anders Limpar kind of player, or a Alexis Sanchez. We're looking for the next Alexis Sanchez, really.
We must have some bigger targets in mind, having like people like him, Waneri.
People say that there's a lot of options. Isn't there? I mean, it does seem like there's a lack of options out there in the transfer market.
So, can I just pick up on something that you said, and it's something that I had a discussion with in a WhatsApp group that I'm in, and that was what you said about Gabriel Jesus. I've never felt that Gabriel Jesus has really been all that for us. A lot of people say, when he came from Man City, he really helped us. I don't really think that he did. He scored 11 goals and 6 assists in 26 appearances in the league, 24 of those starts. And then after that, his stats just went downhill, right?
After the World Cup.
After that, 27 games, 4 goals. 17 games, 3 goals. 14 matches, 3 goals.
But he did get us off to a good start that season. That jumped us into the Champions League.
He did, but he got hurt a lot, right?
Was it worth the 50 million we paid for him?
Hard goals, so we had to depend on Eddie Nketiah at the second half of the season.
Yeah.
And basically we had to use our wingers to score goals. Martinelli and Saka. That's Martinelli's best season. And then Odegaard and Xhaka scored from midfield that year.
Didn't these? Sorry, Alonso. Go ahead.
We depend a lot on the midfield and our wingers to score goals because I believe Jesus scored 11, but scored 5 in the league, and then Nketiah scored 5. Essentially, the second half of the season. So you had your 10 goals in the striker position, which is not good enough.
Yeah.
And then I think Saliba got hurt, and Rob Holding came on. Or a disaster, and that's why we lost the league. Basically, we didn't have enough up front.
Yeah. But didn't these players serve their purpose in getting us into the Champions League?
And Sancho and Jesus.
I think the likes of
Right.
No way, man.
I don't buy that either. I think we could have.
Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus helped us to get into the Champions League place.
No,
Right.
no. I think the money could have been spent better, and we could have brought in players that could have made more of a contribution. Personally, that's what I think. And what we're paying when we're paying Gabriel Jesus, was it £260 a week? I think he's a very lucky individual, personally.
And $50 million with 12 months left on his contract that we paid for him, which I thought was, or 56, whatever it ended up being. I know there were.
I'm fighting all
I
corners
think it
by
was-
myself. I'm in the corner. You all surrounding me. BX as well. Jesus has been nothing but a liability.
I agree.
Yeah, he's scamming a living at Arsenal. That's Stan. That's a Stan saying right there. He's nicking a living.
I agree. I mean, I really had high hopes for Gabriel Jesus, but I just never really. It's so inconsistent, and you know that there's a player in there.
Yeah.
The consistency has just been lacking, and it's not a case that we don't put him into good positions. It's just that sometimes, or a lot of the time, he gets into good positions, but there's no end product.
Wonders.
Hasn't been any end. Yeah, it's been a waste of time for me.
When was it? Was it 2 or 3 seasons ago, Ray, when he kept playing in February and March? I'm like, we're not losing the fucking league because Arteta keeps playing my guy. He's not good enough. Kept putting him out there.
Who is this, Tony?
Jesus.
Well, we lost the league because Rob Holding was crap.
I'm Man City against Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's a tough one when your best centre backs get injured. And you go to the Etihad. You need to go to the Etihad. You need to go to Anfield.
We could have kept one with nice golden locks, perfect hair, Mr. Callum Chambers. That could play anywhere in the defense.
All
right, I'll get off to Gabriel Jesus. I will be happy enough if he leaves also, and we were able to use a squad place for another player. Players like Martinelli are hard to come by, says BX. He's not got an ego and loves the club. No issues on or off the pitch. And, annually he pisses off Liverpool fans. So I'm happy to keep I'm not happy to keep Martinelli.
Maybe that's part of his problem, that he doesn't have an ego. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He needs to back himself a bit more, doesn't he?
You usually find that the greatest players available have some sort of an ego.
Yeah.
You know? And that is why they are as good as they are. You know?
Yeah. Thierry Henry, he definitely had it. Dennis Bergkamp.
Perez, Bloomberg. I mean, all those guys.
Cantona wasn't a bad player.
I was just thinking of Eric Cantona. I had a massive ego.
Because he would strut around like this, right, when he scored. You remember that?
Yeah. But the end product, I mean, the things that he could do on the pitch, maybe that is the problem.
His interview when he said he's not a goal scorer was damning of Gabriel Jesus. We remember that one, right? Gabriel Jesus. Yeah. So I think a lot of the problem with Arsenal this season is that we still haven't constructed our attack properly. I believe anyway. We're going to go with Bukayo Saka and Victor Gyökeres and a player on the left hand side. It won't be Trossard, So I think we're definitely going into the season taking some risk. We need a left wing. We need a left wing addition of some sort. And I'm going to throw this out here. I've probably said this to all of you before on the podcast in the past. We were fortunate that Odegaard was injured for a large part of last season because Eze was able to come in and be influence, half a dozen games in which we won points. If Odegaard was in there, I don't know if we would have gotten those points. That's my controversial take. And we're going to see more of Martin Odegaard this season.
So what, you're saying that you would take a fully fit Eze over a fully fit Odegaard?
Yes.
Really? That surprises me.
I think you get more end product from Eze going forward.
Really? I think Odegaard's a much more intelligent footballer.
Well, yeah. Odegaard is a very intelligent footballer, and he did construct the winning goal, the West Ham goal that Trossard scored. He was key to that when he did come on. But I don't see enough from Martin Odegaard in the last 2 seasons.
That's why I still think we sold the wrong winger. I would have kept Trossard. Because of his football mind, he would go out there and he would still get the assists or goals we needed.
The age. It was the age.
So you're saying that if we were going into this season with Solis and Trossard as our left wing players, you'd be happy with that?
I'm the same position I was last year. I think we need a elite winger, and we haven't got one.
I think if all of us got a very, very decent left wing option over Martinelli, we'd be probably happy with it right now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't know who that player is.
The problem is there's just not that big of a market for left wingers.
I'd like Arsenal to go and steal Bradley Barcola from Liverpool. He's about to go to Liverpool for a price. I think we put all that money into Barcola on the left wing.
Yeah, why not? Because if we end up going back-to-back champions, no one's going to be going back through the accounting book and going, "Oh, but look how much we paid for him." And I'd also go as far as to say the same for Morgan Rogers.
Yeah.
At the end of, if you're able to win things, you don't go back and say, "Oh, was that a good buy?" You only notice it if the player flops. If the player does an Anthony, for example, at Manchester United, where they paid 70, 80 million pounds for him, or euros, whatever it was, and you could quite clearly see that. They had their pants pulled down on that one.
Or you don't go on and win a trophy of some sort, you win a cup, or keep that progression going. You spent the money.
Or one of your. One of your recruiting people goes out, sees Nicolas Pepe. He's worth 35 million, but let's pay him 75 and pocket some of that money.
Back in the bad old days, that is. But I do think Bradley Barcola's got the quality to be our left winger and be exciting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want somebody who's going to have speed and can counterattack and go past the fullback and get across in the box. You know what I mean? You want somebody who has speed and can go past the fullback and pull the ball back to the center of the box for Eze, Odegaard, whoever, Rice who's coming on, Bruno who's coming on to the ball.
I remember Sky having him listed as one of our targets.
Barcola?
Yeah.
DX says, I'm putting my money on Bruno and Solis to take the attack up another level. Do we see the attack being more potent right now with Bruno and Solis in there?
No,
I
because you
don't.
still need to, have someone. It's all right putting really good through balls in, but if that person that's getting the through balls not able to make the most of it, I mean, last season all I heard was, well, Gyökeres hasn't had a pre-season. He hasn't had a pre-season. And he's had a pre-season and he ain't done nothing, as far as I can see. Really, he's not shone in the pre-season, has he?
No, I
You
don't
know,
think. I
and
don't think many of us. I don't think many of the players have shone in the preseason at all.
but particularly in the attack areas. I mean, if Gyökeres is the answer, why are we looking at players like Alvarez? Why are we looking at players like Osimhen? And at one point they were saying that, well, if we bring in Alvarez, Gyökeres will go to Atletico to Madrid. Well, if he doesn't want to go to Atletico Madrid, he signed for Arsenal just a year ago. He's probably got 3 years left on his contract. Well, if he doesn't want to go in Spain to play in Spain. But then again,
Yeah,
you've also got that. If you know that you're not wanted, do you stay? Do you fight to stay, or do you think, well, I'm not wanted here, I'll go somewhere where I am wanted? So there's a lot of variables, right? If you are Victor Gyökeres, and you can see that they're looking at other strikers, that tells you everything that you need to know.
I think he's one Arsenal fan.
Especially when you're listed as a mate.
That you're going to sell him, which is unfair.
This is
I think
this is
that
a dangerous. I think this is a dangerous time of the year.
he just scored 14 goals in the league. So I mean, it's preseason.
And you get.
I'm sure they'll figure it out by then, by when the season starts.
I think you get so many rumors as well at this time of the year.
Yeah,
Newspapers.
but that was a pretty early one. The Gyökeres going for Alvarez as the main plate.
That was rumor created by the fans.
I don't think so.
Nigel, welcome to the show. Hi, Gunners. Hope everyone's well. It's going to be an exciting season. I think you're a Liverpool fan. Nigel, you've been in here before.
Nigel.
So
He's like Ray. He's a Liverpool fan.
Okay, look, we bring in someone like Osimhen, okay?
yeah,
He'd be paid a lot of money. He's already on a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right? So what does that do for a player like Kai Havertz, who's also on a lot of money? What, you're going to pay Havertz, what is it, like 250 grand a week to be the third choice striker? How does that work? Doesn't make sense.
well, we have.
His minutes will go down. He already seems like a bit of a bit part player in the fact that he hasn't really nailed down a position.
Nope.
In our formation. What is his best position? Is he a 10? Is he a right-sided midfielder? Is he a second striker? Is he a striker? I mean, we know that he plays as a striker for Germany, but is that out of necessity? What are you going to do? You're going to drop Havertz and play Wiltord? I don't think so. But in the Arsenal squad, where is his actual position? And for the amount of money that he's on, for me, it's a little bit concerning.
It's kind of somewhere in between the 10 and the second striker is kind of.
But we don't have a formation that really accommodates that, unless it's late in the game. We're trying to throw everything at a game, and we're going to do something a little bit out of the box. But you're going to have Kai Havertz hanging around for those moments and the amount of money that he's on. I don't see how that works for us. I don't see how that works for him.
And that's exactly the word I would use, Stan. We're a moments team when it comes to attacking and scoring goals that aren't from set pieces. We are a moments team, and Kai Havertz will give you a moment or a few moments in the season. I want to maintain our reliance. I want to maintain our supremacy at set pieces, but I also want to open the game up a little bit where we can be more free flowing. I called for that last season. What Mikel Arteta should look to do is to build a team that's more free flowing and can score more goals. We're definitely going to need to do that with our defensive issues. Tony?
Yeah, and we can't keep having all these attacking players, Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli. You can't have them having such defensive duties they need to be attacked. We have good defenders. Even without Saliba, we're good enough back there. It just to me, it's just not with proper tactics, and that's been my problem.
BX has, I think, Solis has been massively underrated and disrespected. He's been signed because he's shown serious promise. Maybe we already have what we need on the left. We have to give him a shot. I mean, it looks BX. It looks like he's going to get a few games at the beginning of the season for sure, until players come back like a Declan Rice and Eze will come back and fill in that half a left 8 position or left wing position as well. I want to go back to the goalkeeper as well. We don't want to keep. I don't want to keep Kepa.
No.
Okay, we're in agreement on that one.
It's hard to believe that at one point, this was a goalkeeper that was transferred for £75 million.
Yeah.
And at the time, that was, big money for a goalkeeper. And then it was very telling that we basically picked him up for change. And, at the time I thought, okay, this could be a good opportunity, but, good market opportunity, as I like to call it. But it doesn't seem to be paying off at all. And even, the guy that we bought, was it Meslier? Who used to be the Leeds goalkeeper.
Yeah.
They've both kind of been sharing the minutes in the pre-season, and Meslier looks to me like he should be the number 2.
Better, yes. Agreed. Do you think that, Tony?
Yeah, I'm not sure either one's good enough to be your number 2.
Well, you have to make a choice on who would be your second from those two.
Kepa has to have it in there somewhere still.
BX says Kepa's got to go. Yeah,
and who's gonna come in and pay money for Kepa to make him their number 1? He's not really showing that he's got anything really to offer to be a number 1 choice for a team that wants to challenge. He doesn't look like he's got that at all.
Yeah, he basically is on the path to trying to rebuild and reestablish himself. And
he hasn't done that.
2 seasons ago, he did well with Bournemouth, and he came to us. He hasn't really covered himself in glory, isn't that what we say? Hasn't really covered himself in glory, BX said, get Chesney out of retirement.
Probably be better.
That's one guy.
Shed.
That's one guy I wish we brought back.
Chesney, yeah.
Because he was always Arsenal through and through. Even after he left, he was still always cheering for us, always giving Spurs shit.
Well, I'll tell you what, Arsenal through and through. Bruno Guimaraes looks pretty happy to be an Arsenal player now, and he's got that opportunity now with the club to go on and win some things. And I think that's a huge signing. Bringing Bruno in.
It would have been a huge signing 4 fucking years ago too, right? But
every year you try to refresh, especially Alec Ferguson used to do it, right? You'd win the Premier League, and you'd go again. You'd refresh. I'm just not convinced that the players that we brought in have refreshed us enough. Solis, he could convince us by his raw talent that he's going to score goals in the Premier League, and that's what we all want, right? We'd like Victor Gyökeres and Solis to start tearing it up on that left wing area. And Bruno Guimaraes crashing the box, Tony, scoring a few goals as well. Those are the kind of areas that could be positive for us this season.
Through balls, right? Through balls.
Through balls, indeed. And yeah, he does a lot of them. He's not as good as Bruno Fernandes in that respect, but he's the second best Bruno in the Premier League. It's a massive signing race, says BX, talking about Bruno. Adding Bruno could be season defining. I just would like a little bit more firepower. And that's where I'm a little nervous right now. We're 8 days away from the start of the defense of the Premier League title when we play Coventry at home. And we should have enough to beat Coventry, but you never know. A team that comes up from the championship, they can be dangerous then.
Oh yeah, and especially their first game is against the current champions.
They give it everything.
You know, you're gonna, you want to give a good account of yourselves, right? You know, you probably, you're playing out of, you have players playing out of their skin to prove a point that they want to show everybody that they belong.
Yeah.
And even, they want to show that, okay, in a year's time, perhaps I get an opportunity to move from Coventry to a bigger club based on what they've been able to achieve, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's worse, Ray? We're a week from the season starting, or 2.5 weeks from a window closing, and I don't think we've done enough business at all to strengthen and go at both fronts. We don't look equipped to compete in both the league and the Champions League.
I'm agreeing with you too much, Tony. Right now, it's not normal. Not normal for us to agree with each other so much, but we have all of that Vinny money to spend, right? The money we were going to spend on Vinny Jr., it's there. Other clubs will probably know that as well. And we have to,
we made over 200 million in the Champions League. We have the money there. You just gotta find the targets, or go out there and convince some players that ask for a move. And that's the best thing to do. You go talk to the guys' entourage, and you're like, hey, we want you, or I pay you this. Then they hand in a transfer request, and you end up with a player. You have to use a little bit of black arts on signing these, getting these guys.
But I'm sure there's no shortage of players that are out there for us to target. You know, this club won the Premier League last season, got to the Champions League final.
And I have all the belief in the world Berta can identify with players and convince them to come as well.
I'm sure that he already has, Tony. It just takes time sometimes.
But look, this is why that Berta does business, talking to every Tom, Dick and Harry's fucking people, making deals with the people. In the same way that we say, well, we only want players to come to Arsenal, want to be at Arsenal. If I'm a player and Arsenal show an interest in me and I'm playing, I don't know, let's say I'm playing at Bournemouth, it's a bigger club, right? And Arsenal come in for me. Obviously, career-wise, right, that's going to be a big step. You're interested, of course, you agree the deal and everything like that, and you're there, and you're waiting, you tell your wife, listen, we could be moving to London. And then you hear Arsenal talking to another player from another team in your position. I mean, I would be thinking to myself, well, do they really want me? Do they really want me? They don't seem to be going all out for me. They seem to be talking to a number of people in my position.
I mean, it's a privilege to play for Arsenal. That's what the players would think, right?
It's hard to know if they're just a pawn or what's going on.
So why would you put in a transfer request if you know that they're talking to 3 or 4 other players that play in your position? You're not going to put a transfer request in and they don't go for you. They go for the other player. And now you don't get a move. You're stuck at a club and you put a transfer request in. I always think that if you really want to go to Arsenal, and Arsenal want you, once the club puts their bid on the table to the club, to the club they want to buy from, that's and the buying club, the club is that the selling club is dragging their heels. That's the point where the player should go transfer request, because now you just put the pressure on. Now you're making the club choose, to make a decision. Yeah. And then you get to the stage where it's like, well, we better sell him now because we're going to have to replace him and we need this money to do that. But players are not going to put a transfer request in unless it's something that is concrete. In the words of Fabrizio Romano. Loves that word. So yeah, I mean, we've got 2 weeks. I think there'll be I think there will be more players coming in. I have no idea who. And we seem to be linked with quite a lot of players. I mean, if Arsenal want Konza, did they make a bid to Aston Villa and it was turned down? Is that what's happened? I think they made a bid. I don't know if it was an actual proper bid or whether it was just a phone call to feel it out kind of a bid. As you know, there's different kinds of bids.
Yeah.
You know, so I just think if you identify a player and you want that player, and they know that player is open to a move, then you just go to the club and say how much you want for that player.
And I think Aston Villa are in a position where they do need some money. You know what I mean? They have a slight worry about the funds as well. But and in the same way, Aston Villa will set the bar pretty high for the players. Somebody mentioned 50 to 55 million for Konza. You know, it's a decent amount of money. Like again, it's probably the going rate for a Premier League defender.
But if that's the going rate for Konza, it's 50 million, then why would we accept, was it 38 million for Martinelli? I would say then that Martinelli, we should be looking for at least a minimum of around 50. The sort of money that we paid for Madueke, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I would be expecting. Why would we accept 38 million? We can get another maybe 10 to 15.
Luis Diaz went to Bayern Munich for 75 million last summer.
But arguably, Luis Diaz, you know, his output is far more consistent than Martinelli's. And
Yeah.
so much so, you'd even have to ask why would Liverpool even agree to that?
Yeah. Again, he was not getting paid very well at Liverpool, and the package that Bayern put together was a lot of money for Luis Diaz. So, BX said we need a defender or two, is my guess. We need cover for Saliba and a right back that's available consistently. Yeah, so we definitely will have to sign either a right back or a right centre back. You know, as
I still think the answer is you take Benjamin and you say you're to be the backup center back. Your body isn't going to hold up going up and down the pitch, being a right back, especially the way Arteta wants them to play. It's not going to work.
So
I just don't know. Don't know. Yeah.
Well, I think Ben White had his best seasons when Saka was in front of him playing right wing and Ben White was playing right back, Tony. You even say yourself that Ben White was not a good center back. So which one is it, Tony?
I have a feeling, yeah, exactly.
Tony, I mean, you know, so Ben White either way is a good center back and good right back. It just happens that he's hurt. And
Yeah,
we
but
can't-
he'll be hurt.
we can't.
He's
Yeah, he is.
going to
But when
be
he's
hurt
healthy,
less
he's good.
if
But
he's hurt
when
less
he's
as a
hurt,
center back.
I have a feeling in the next couple of weeks that we'll be talking about Ben White moving on to another Premier League club.
I mean,
You know,
with White and Timber being our right backs and Mosquera being a backup, you'd think that should be enough. But if two out of those three players have constant injury problems, you've got to be decisive. You've got to be decisive and say, we can't continue like that. What if we get both of them out at the same time and we've just got Mosquera to rely on? Then what are we going to do? So you need to, as no matter how good a fit they are for the team and the formation when they are fit, if they can't remain fit, they're no good to us. They're just not.
but Mosquera is good as a good center back himself.
Yeah, Mosquera is good, but we're talking about Timber and White.
But it's been a problem. You had Tomiyasu, Tierney, all those guys couldn't hold up.
Maybe that's the reason why we've got a new head doctor. Maybe maybe this history, some of these problems that you've named. Maybe we think that we can get a doctor in that can keep our players fitter for longer periods in the season. Maybe that's something to do.
Especially all these muscle injuries. The amount of muscle injuries the last 2 seasons is just ridiculous. It's something you're doing in training. It's their nutrition. It's something you're making them do that.
Think about it as well. We're
Breaking
coming
down
off,
those muscles.
I'll say it again as well. We're coming off a season where we played every game but 2. We didn't play semifinal or final of the FA Cup, but we went all the way in every other competition.
Let me ask you guys a question, right?
Yep.
Out of Timber and Ben White, both fully fit, both able to play, who do you prefer?
Timber.
Why?
But
I just think he's more
he's a
dynamic, better defender.
Really?
That's how
I think Ben White is a better all-round player.
I think Ben White going forward is better. I think Ben White has more composure. I think Timber is not a bad. He's a good defender going back, but going forward, Timber isn't as good as Ben White is.
I definitely think that, for me, anyway, Ben White seems he's a better all-round.
The best of Ben White versus the best of Jurrien Timber.
I think he's a better all-round player. I understand why people like Timber, but I do think that he has better, as BX said, he has better link-up play for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a better defender because he's played as centre-back as well. So, he has the art of defending.
I said all those things, Dan.
Better on the overlap, getting forward. I personally think he is the better all-round defender. It's a little bit like Tierney, and then when we brought that other chap in on the left as a left back. No, the other chap,
Zinchenko.
Tavares.
Don't say it. Okay, you're banned from ever saying it again. Okay, you can't go into the season saying that again. Okay, it's over, Stan. It's over. It's buried. It's done.
Tavares.
There's a statute of limitations. It's 5 seasons. We all know. If you're regulars, you all know where Stan was going to go with that one.
But I do think,
and we all know that player was a leading assist guy in Europe after
Here we go.
yeah, Lazio.
He also said that Tony Hill's a left wing, not a left back.
Yeah, but Arteta plays him as wing backs
Yeah.
instead of full backs.
As a wing.
So yeah,
Here we go. Oh boy.
we've seen it all now.
I don't give a fuck if they're inverted, going inside, outside, circles. If you're attacking from the
That's what she
fullback position, you're a wing back. You're a wing back.
So who's the 2 center backs, Tony? Or who's the 3 center backs?
All right. If you're new to the show, and you see Tony going like this, that's when you get your popcorn ready, because the fireworks are starting. Tony's hitting. He's approaching. What do you call those nuclear reactors? Maximum overload. The camera starts shaking.
I put as many fusion rods in there as I can, right?
It's like
Stan, I do prefer Ben White for obvious reasons that Stan just said and I said before. But unfortunately,
I think Timber's a better defender.
You gotta hang in there, Alonso.
I've hung in there long enough.
You gotta put your elbows out.
We're standing and Tony between. I waited long enough, but yeah, I mean, look, I prefer Ben White because to me, Ben White's a better defender. He's very going forward with Saka. Saka has best years with Ben White on the pitch going forward.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, injuries have happened to both Timber and Ben White. The funny thing about it is, we won the league this year, but both of them were injured. So it's kind of funny how that works out because Mascara had a big part in it as well. playing both right back and center back. And unfortunately, has his worst game at PSG when we needed him the most.
Yeah,
But he'll learn and he'll be better for it. So
it's tough though, right? You're up against the best left wing in the world in Cava Shelley, right? And that was just a tough one. It's he's gonna learn. He's gonna learn from that. I think you might know that I'm kind of a fan of Mascara. I think he's had a good first season at Arsenal. I think we're gonna need to have a very good second season from him. Is that your one, Tony? It's your dog.
No,
Someone walking by my balcony.
Oh, I think he's gonna I think he's gonna need to have a very, very good second season because we're gonna need him. Because Saliba, you know the thing about Saliba, you don't even notice him. He's that good. He's that good positionally. You don't even know he's there when he's playing for Arsenal. You know what I mean? But I think we're going to lament Saliba's absence in a few games from that inside left position. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope we don't concede too many goals, but I think that might happen. You know what I mean?
And even though Mosquera, he's 22 years old, you have to remember he's not a novice coming into the game. At Valencia, he had 2 seasons. In his first season, he had 36 matches. Second season, he played 37. So he's had a lot of game time. He's had a lot of experience, and he played consistently for Valencia. He wasn't like a bit part player.
Yeah. Listen, he's going to make a mistake or two. I think we all remember Brentford, the recovery challenge against Thiago away at Brentford. It wasn't one of our better games, but he definitely was able to recover a few yards. He has got some pace that he's able to get back. Like he's got Hector Bellerin pace when Hector Bellerin was younger. You know what I mean? Hungrier. So we're probably gonna line up with Hincapi, Gabriel. So we'll be pretty solid on the left side, in front of David Raya. But the right side is where we're gonna have to patch it up for the first 10, 15 games.
Who did they always say was faster than Bellerin and
Theo Walcott.
was it Theo? Was he one?
Had to be Theo Walcott, right? Had to be.
For some reason, I thought it was somebody else that was.
It was Samir Nasri. No.
Do you see any problems with Hincapié and Gabriel Megalegs both playing at the same time in the centre of defence, both being left-footed?
I see where you're going with this. Yeah.
I say that because some people say, you need to have one, each one with different foot. But for many years in the English league, how many, back fours had a centre back pairing with both of those players being right-footed?
That's what I'm saying. How long did Arsenal go? It was like 7, 8 seasons. They were both right-footed. It's not a thing.
I don't have an issue with sliding them because you're thinking then maybe Calafiori or Miles Lewis-Skelly will be your left back, and you slide Gabriel and Hincapié into those positions.
You could even put Calafiori as a centre back and play Hincapié as a left back, because both of those players are primarily centre backs that have played at left back. It's only at Arsenal where they feature more as a left back rather than the centre back. In the previous clubs, they were more primarily centre backs, right?
Yeah, I would think you're putting your best players on the field, but you're playing them slightly out of position, which is something that I want to do.
Has Calafiori played a game at center back for us?
Probably he stepped in and filled in that area, but he might not have started. You know what I mean?
I think maybe once or twice.
Yeah. So, that's our right side of defense because of Saliba. Not only Saliba, but coupled with what we think might be issues with Jurriën Timber and Ben White.
Well, Ben White's healthy, so he's going to start, obviously. I think Timber's not the one is the one that's out right now, so you got to go with your most healthiest right back,
All right.
right?
So listen, we know we're going to preview Alonzo. We know we're going to preview the Community Shield coming up on Sunday. So let's just set. Give me your back four for Sunday.
It's probably Ben White,
Yep.
Mascara, Gabriel Megalegs, and
And copy.
I didn't go with Calafiori, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Because to me, Calafiori didn't play in World Cup, so he's got to be fresher. You would assume, right?
Yeah. Well, Hincapie,
Um,
they didn't go too deep either, right? As with Ecuador.
No, but still, it's like no, but I think Calafiori is a first roller too. I would think so.
I like Calafiori. He's a bit of an X factor going forward. You know,
Yeah.
he's a little bit unpredictable and hard to account for going forward. I mean,
He might be in Saka's position on the pitch.
yeah. I would, Tony. I would generally go with the same Hincapie, Gabriel, Mosquera, and Ben White. I think I would
Is
go
Ben White fit now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mikel Arteta in his latest press conference said it was a little bit challenging because we had a game the weekend, and then we played Como. And so it was like we're going to get in the next 2 months. We're going to get a Saturday midweek, weekend game. We're going to get 3 games a week. So we're starting to condition the players that way. But Tony, you would generally go with the same back four?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't think you have really too much more options anyway. Kind of pick yourself.
Stan,
I agree with you.
okay. Stan, would you? I mean, does it pick itself at this point? Back four?
I think it's either or between Hincape and Calafiori. Some people have been grumbling a little bit about Calafiori in pre-season. I've not watched all of the pre-season games in full, so I'm not the best person to make a comment on that. I've seen some highlights here and there, but those matches have generally been going on when I've been at work. And for example, with the Como game, when I realised we went to penalties, it was 0-0 during the game. We went to penalties. I'm not going to come home from work and watch that whole game through.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. 2 hours you can do something else with.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's jump in the midfield for Sunday. Stan, we'll start with you. What do you want to see in midfield?
Well, it all depends. What are we going with the double pivot, a single pivot? I mean, there's different variations, right?
Morning, Tiger.
Morning, Tiger. I mean, we've got different options, but I mean, did Bruno play any part in the last friendly at Como?
Yeah, he did.
Halftime, he came on for the second half.
Yeah. How did he look?
I think he did okay. Again, I didn't see, like you, I didn't see the game. I think preseason's just about fitness, remember? But I heard he looked pretty good and put himself about a little bit. Did score one of the penalties in the shootout as well. But,
And let's say Declan Rice is unavailable for the game, then
yeah,
where would you play? Would you play Bruno as a 6 or an 8? Because he could play. He's a little bit like Declan Rice. He can play in both positions. I don't know which one is his best, personally. I would have probably thought that, with Declan Rice being fit, if I was going to have a midfield with Declan Rice and Bruno, I would be more inclined to have Declan Rice as the deeper midfielder, as the 6, because I just think that with Bruno's passing range further up the field, that could be, as I mentioned before, was it on here that I told you that if you look at Bruno's career in the Premier League, he's put for over 60-odd through balls in his career, whereas Declan Rice has only put through 7, and that's including his time at West Ham.
Yeah, that's quite glaring.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's at Arsenal that Declan Rice has really been moved into an 8 position, isn't it? He didn't play that position at West Ham. So, I mean, if Declan Rice isn't available, you could go with a Zubamendi as a 6 and Bruno as an 8.
Yeah.
Or you could go for double pivot with them sharing, sharing, knowing when to get forward, knowing when to stay back. If they don't have to both hold each other's hand in a double pivot for the whole 90 minutes, right? There should be some flexibility. So what I'm trying to say is that we have options. We have options, and really the only person that knows what the best option is the manager that sees them every day in training, and he should by now have an idea of how he wants to set that up. I mean, you could actually, if you have a double pivot, it could be Declan Rice and Zubamendi. Then that means what? Does Bruno sit on the bench? Because we can only pick 3 in the midfield. These days we play with three midfielders. You've got to look at an Odegaard, you've got to look at an Eze, you've got to look at a Marino. We have a lot of choice and a lot of combinations.
Yeah.
So it's a really hard one to say what our midfield is going to look like. And I think that there'll probably be a few changes until if Mikel Arteta hasn't actually settled on what he wants to do.
Yeah. I think with the lack of availability of some players, a la Declan Rice and Saka, the team will somewhat pick itself on Sunday. So I think we could see Bruno Guimaraes now has had 45 minutes. So I think he'll join Zubamendi, and Odegaard will be the creative midfielder, the attacking midfielder. So that will comprise our midfield. Alonso, what are you thinking?
I was thinking Miles Lewis-Skelly. I think maybe Bruno, and maybe Odegaard. I'm really liking Miles Lewis-Skelly. I think he's had a good preseason. Bruno Fernandes, I think Bruno Guimaraes has experience. So, I think he'll want to play, and I think Odegaard. We'll see what happens with him. But I really do like Miles Lewis-Skelly in number 8. I think Guimaraes should be, or number 6. I think Guimaraes should be number 8, and I think Odegaard would be number 8 as well. So, I like that combination a lot.
What are we thinking about the rumors about Miles Lewis-Skelly right now?
I think they're crap. I don't buy it. I think it's all rumors created by whatever reporter. I think that it's all BS to me. I think fans read into too many things right now, especially nowadays. And I think Miles Lewis-Skelly seems committed to Arsenal.
Yeah. We watched the press conference with Mikel Arteta again. He's got that smile. That smile that tells you he's not going to give you anything. He's not going to tell you anything. You don't come out of don't watch the press conferences, because you don't feel any wiser after seeing them. Because Mikel Arteta plays his cards very close to his chest. And all you get is that good smile.
I just always feel he's lying everything he says.
It's the one profession where you're probably encouraged and allowed to lie. You know what I mean? Tony, what's your midfield for Sunday?
Zubamendi, deeper, then Gummy Bears and Odegaard.
Odegaard, yeah. Right? Okay.
But just looking at that Miles Lewis-Skelly, I mean, the report said that he had been offered to 2 clubs, right? Chelsea and Man United. He had been offered. The player, from the player side, the message was, I don't really want to leave. I'm happy. So who's doing the offering? You would probably have to say that. Wouldn't that be the manager? He calls, Mikel Arteta. He calls the shots. He's not a head coach like a Unai Emery. He's the manager. He's been given. He's been given, the privilege of being able to make those decisions. So, when it comes to our younger players like Miles Lewis-Skelly and Nwaneri, if they're still developing, I think that Arsenal should now be in a position where, do we have enough space for developing players, or are we now in a position where we're getting the real deal, the ready-made thing, as in, for example, showing our intent with someone like a Vinny Jr. You know, if you're saying, well, we need someone for the left wing, we were looking at Vinny Jr. and we couldn't get any higher than that. You know, the two best left wingers at the moment are probably him and Kvaratskhelia, depending on what your preference is, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, if the manager thinks that Miles Lewis-Skelly is able to play in the first team, because he came in quite late at the end of last season, where before that he wasn't really getting much of a sniff in midfield. He was sort of playing most of his games at left back, and I think it was probably because Zubimendi was so gassed. We needed to try something else, and it worked. He looked really, really good.
Yes.
But if you're of the mind that he still has development to go, or even Nwaneri, I'm at the stage now with this team that I don't think we have room in the squad for developing players. Why not sell a developing player with a buyback clause? What we should now be in a position where, you know, we've been a club where we've developed players, and then just as they start to reach their peak, then they go off to a Real Madrid or a Barcelona or a bigger club, and we don't get the benefit of that. Maybe now the boot is on the other foot, where we could get rid of developing players, upgrade them for ready-made players, which will enable us to go further in the Champions League or to be back-to-back Premier League champions. And if someone like Nwaneri is going to be as good as we hope he will be, why can't we let him go somewhere else and develop for a couple of seasons, 2-3 seasons, and then buy him back when he's ready to actually be a consistent contender for the first team? I'm all for that, as long as they have suitable replacements during that period and it doesn't leave us, you know, threadbare in either of those positions.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. I don't mind this, because I think that's the movement of big boys.
Yeah.
You know, look at Cole Palmer, for example. He was a good player at Man City, but hold on time. But he was a good player at Man City, but they felt that as good as he is and as promising as he is, we need players now, today, and they didn't feel that he was there yet, so he had to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, and he has blown a little bit hot and cold at Chelsea. He obviously looks like a very talented player, but there has been some inconsistencies.
Yep.
But Chelsea are having to suffer those inconsistencies, not Man City. So why should we? So the point I'm making is that, you know, I know that we all love these young players that come through our ranks, but in order to develop, you need game time. And with our packed midfield that we have, maybe someone like Miles Lewis-Skelly, Nwaneri, either or both, have to go elsewhere to develop and then come back to us if we insert a buyback clause. Because I think that with Nwaneri, there was a club in Italy that were looking at him. I think it might have been one of the Milans. And one of the stipulations that I think Arsenal were talking about was a buyback clause. So they're obviously thinking ahead. They don't, you know, if they're going to lose him, they want to still be able to keep an eye on him and perhaps bring him back once he's developed elsewhere. Because we're a team for today. We've now just won the league. We got to a Champions League final and went out on penalties. We need players for today that we know can give us back-to-back champions status and take us further in the Champions League.
Yeah, I will. Go ahead, Tony. I will jump back to the stuff.
Galatasaray is kind of where he's rumored to go now, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if we sell both Skelly and Nwaneri, and part of that being that they haven't featured much at all for really Nwaneri, and you had to me Skelly, he didn't do anything wrong at left back. Then he just doesn't feature at all until the end of the year last year, and I think we missed the useful player.
And I mean, yeah, there's going to be injuries as well. It only takes, for example, say Eze and Odegaard to be injured at the same time, or one of them in a bad vein of form. Then there's an opportunity for someone like Nwaneri to come in. But if everybody does maintain fitness, do you really want a developing player like Miles Lewis-Skelly in the Nordgaard role, being that far down the pecking order and not being able to get minutes because Zubimendi is able to maintain fitness,
Yeah.
as Bruno G is able to maintain fitness, Declan Rice is able to maintain fitness, then where does a developing player like MLS, where's he going to get his games? In the Caribou Cup? That's it?
The words that you're saying are hitting me hard, Stan, because I'm kind of feeling like these are young players that we could get the benefit from. We've developed them so far. I hear everything you said, but we developed them on one area. We've developed them at Wax Stauman, all of these players that we could, and Miles Lewis-Skelly, who could be coming into the best years of their life and best years of their career. And these are the players who could drive Arsenal on to a second, and third Premier League title.
Wouldn't you hate to lose him to Chelsea, though?
That's the thing that
That's rumor.
we should be okay with that, right? You're saying we should be okay with that. Let us get some money from it, but we all have these heartstrings, right, to the players, because they're products of the academy as well. Alec Ferguson used to have Nicky Butt and the Neville brothers, you know what I mean, and they were part of winning teams as well. So I think
Gary Neville is a starter, right? He's someone that's going to start. But even someone like Nicky Butt, you could say, probably, and Phil Neville, probably never got an opportunity to develop more because game time was limited. Other than injuries, a little bit of rotation, you need to be playing. You get to a certain age where you need to be playing regularly. I think, a Max Stauman we could probably still hold on to.
Yeah.
Maybe even a Salmon can be on the bench and gain some experience. But you have to make decisions with some of these developing players. And I think that we're a team now that if we're looking at players like Vinny Jr. and we are trying to be one of the big boys, I don't know if we've got room to just blow our squad out with players that are not going to be able to get the time to develop. And then they're never going to reach their potential and they'll end up getting sold anyway. They won't be happy just not playing. Only coming in for the Caribou Cup. Why not let them go? Why not let someone else develop them and then we buy them back? If they're good enough. That's where we should be.
Tiger Gunner said Nicky Butt was average. Yeah, he did. I think he did a job though for that team at times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ray Parlour was definitely.
You have to have those guys.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have those guys. You can't go out and buy everybody. You have to keep and grow.
They fill. I think those kind of players fill out your squad and raise the levels of your squad as well. And Mikel Arteta's talking about being ruthless, and it's going to be their brand of ruthlessness that we're going to experience, and we're gonna see what happens in the next couple of weeks. It'll be interesting on September 1st, looking back at this podcast, who we're talking about and what has actually happened in 2 weeks, because I think you could see 2 or 3 movements within the squad. You know what I mean?
I think you'll see a lot more than that.
Well, more than 2. Yeah, and that's the thing. Tiger Nicky Butt was in a good Man U team, and we are a good Arsenal team. So the comparisons. I believe the comparisons are there for younger players and what's going to happen. Some talk about Miles Lewis-Skelly when he did score that goal. What was that all about? You know what I mean? His gesture to the fans. Maybe it's like, thank you to the Arsenal fans for believing in me, for supporting me. He wants to stay with Arsenal, and the rumors are out there. I don't know. Is there anything solid behind that? Was the Skelly stuff?
I mean,
I think he wants to stay at Arsenal, and I think he wants to fight for whatever opportunity he's been given. I still don't think that. Why would you want to sell when you're younger, your best young players to a rival like Chelsea and or Manchester United? Even then, he would not even play there either. because they have a lot. They have a already loaded midfield as is already. So I don't buy those rumors because you want to see your younger players fight for their position, and you want them. I want them to succeed at Arsenal. I would not want them to go elsewhere, particularly because they may become a good player in the future.
Yeah.
And they've been playing for Arsenal already, so I don't know, man. Like, there's something there. I think Miles Skelly and Rari. So I don't know. I think it'd be foolish to sell them right now.
Look, the worst thing that we could do is to loan out, say, a Waneri now, and then in a couple of months' time, we've got injuries in that area of the pitch, and then we've all gone, we've got this guy that's he's out on loan, and we can't bring him back. So why don't we keep those players, Miles Lewis Skelly, until we get to January? At January, we can see where we are, and if they've not been able to get into the team and everybody's playing in good form, then maybe you can make a sale or a loan for half a season until you know what I mean. We could be smart about it. We don't have to be driven into action now.
Yeah. Tiger and Gunner says, unfortunately, Arsenal has a habit of selling to the rivals. Go ahead, Alonso.
You know what's funny? Like, I remember Arsenal just selling away. I think Haven was the name of the center back from Arsenal.
Yeah, Man United.
And also they also sold the young striker
Obi
to United, and look where they're at right now. So because they got big-headed, and the agents told them they're better off elsewhere.
Yeah.
And look where Skelly is at right now, and look at where Ethan is at right now in their careers. They're both on English 21 teams. That's just a lot about their progress, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So you never know how good they could be as players if they're not getting constant game time, or at least they're not fighting for position. And like Stan had said, why can't they get loaned out? Is a proper way to do things, so that you can see where they're at their loan club, instead of just selling them right away. That's just
the things you're saying about Heaven and Obi Mikel going to Manchester United makes me think about Manchester United and how they played under Carrick. They played quite well last season, but I actually feel Man United might struggle a little bit this season as well. They've got to back up now what they did last season. Michael Carrick has to back up with the work that he did last season. I think they got into the Champions League. I think they came third place, but now they have to take what is potentially the most difficult step is to go from third to actually challenge for the Premier League. To be up there past Christmas. We think Man City will be there because they have the caliber of players under Maresca. They won't have the Pep Guardiola magic or nous. You know what I mean? Chelsea might be there just ahead of Liverpool, I would think, as well. So I think we're looking at the main contenders: Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Man United. Those are the kind of four that I think will come out of the pack into the new year.
And Chelsea, I think Chelsea as well. We've only one game a week.
Yeah,
they're the most dangerous, especially with their manager as well.
Do you rate him as the best manager of those three challengers?
Yeah.
Xabi Alonso.
Yep.
We've done good things in Germany. He's a forward-thinking kind of a manager, but when you've got, for example, when you're only playing once a week, someone like Esteval, for example, who looks like a very good player, it's going to be quite easy now for someone like Esteval to not be, to not get run into the ground like a Zubimendi, because there's less games. which means he gets rest,
Yeah.
gets training, he's ready again for the following week. Now, a player like Esteval will probably really benefit of only having to play one game a week.
It's hard to know. Like BX says, Carrick has done an impressive job thus far. He's my biggest worry. Maresca could be good with Man City and Xabi Alonso. I think those three will be challenging Arsenal at certain times, of course, in the season. But
What about Areola at Liverpool?
I have a feeling it's going to take 2 to 3 months for them to get ahead of steam going. You know what I mean? I think they're going to drop important points early in the season. What do you think?
Well, they spent quite a lot of money, haven't they, over the last however many seasons? Spent quite a bit of money, how much they're willing to pay for players. And they're doing it again, aren't they, with Barcola? That's going to be well over 100 million if that goes through.
If that goes through. I'd love Arsenal to hijack that one. It would be like big boy stuff, like they did that to Newcastle last season. Wouldn't you like to do that to them this season?
I like doing it to anybody, but
I would have had done it at Tottenham, but
You'd like to do it to Tottenham?
whenever we tried to get Romero, but it didn't work out. So.
Yeah. So
I just have a quick question as well, okay? And it was something that I was thinking about. If you were going to Newcastle to buy a midfielder and you were looking at Bruno or Tonali, who would you have bought?
I would have brought Bruno. I would have bought Bruno.
Yeah.
Sure.
I would have bought. So personally, I would have gone for Tonali. I think he has a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
Because of the age. Obviously, when you put players into a better team with better players around them and different coaching methods. I'm not saying that I don't want Bruno. I'm not happy with it, but I'm just saying that if I was going to have to pick one, and for the sort of money that you're spending, I just felt maybe Tonali had a high ceiling.
I just
but that's with short term versus a long term thing. And I think you have to go for a short term. Stands to getting arrested.
Those three Blues.
It was just something I was thinking about. But don't get me wrong, I'm very happy with Bruno.
Tonali is 26 years old. Bruno's, 28, 29. So
29.
There's a couple of years there with Tonali. Obviously, Tonali's not going to score the amount of goals that Bruno would score or be involved.
Really?
Right?
I think they're about the same. No?
No, he doesn't get many goals or assists as Bruno would. So I think Arsenal have been crying out for some impetus and attack in open play. And as you referenced, Bruno Guimaraes is pretty good at through ball, pretty good at passing and finding. I think he'll find the likes of Martinelli or Zolas on the left quicker. He'll find Bukayo Saka quicker. Now, Bukayo Saka's got to be able to play the ball into the box quicker. I think Bukayo Saka sometimes holds on to the ball too much, and that could be the part of his game that has stalled in the last couple of years. The fact that Bukayo Saka holds on to the ball too much and wants to weave those triangles. But yeah, I think Bruno Guimaraes has got more goals and assists going forward.
Yeah, you're probably right about the end products, to be fair.
So then you have to just tell yourself 2 years. 2 years, is that a lot in what our project, like the next 3 years, we're going to get Bruno. We're going to have Bruno Guimaraes for 2, 3, 4 seasons, right?
Can we say project anymore, Ray?
It's always a project. The project restarts again this season, doesn't it?
I don't like to call it a project anymore.
What do you want to call it?
season.
Yeah, I think that project kind of is really at the beginning of a new era and a kind of a rebuild. We're not really doing a rebuild as such now, right? We're only looking at really a couple of positions that we want to upgrade.
We're retooling the machine is what we're doing, right?
We are in the unique position of sitting at the top of the pile and looking down and looking at where our competition is going to come from. Yeah. So we have that, what do you want to call it, a superiority complex? Sure, I'll take it. We have a superiority complex because with that comes confidence that we can do it again, but with humility. Got to have that humility, and it's something that I thought about watching these preseason games. That are we going through the motions in preseason? Are we thinking we're the dog's bollocks? You know what I mean? We won't know till the season starts.
We haven't really been playing preseason games with our full complement, right?
Right.
We've got sort of like bit part players, some youngsters on the bench, players that may not get as many minutes. I'm not so sure whether I put a lot of weight into preseason. I mean, I remember one preseason where Eddie Nketiah was scoring a lot of goals, and then the season started and it just dried up.
Yeah.
There's a different mindset when there's really nothing to play for, right? You're just playing a game. Yeah, you want to win it, but once you get into the league, every game now becomes very, very important.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I put so much stock into these games. I mean, do you really need David Raya to be playing all of the preseason games? He knows what he's got to do. He knows what his job is. But we need to make a decision of who our number 2 goalkeeper is. So the backups have had to have minutes so that the manager can take a look and see who he's going to bet on.
I think we're going into Sunday with David Raya came on, I think, for the penalties against Como.
Okay.
Yes.
And he saved one, right? He saved a couple, right? Or
saved a couple, I think.
Yeah.
So this is his preseason. His preseason was a couple of penalties saved, and I guess the preseason opener now is on Sunday, so he'll probably play a full game against Man City.
Well, he's had plenty of rest. He didn't put his gloves on in the World Cup.
Yeah. You're right. He would be fresh. You're right. But you still need to blow off the rust a little bit, right? But we trust in David Raya. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the world.
The Spain manager doesn't think so. He's in 3rd place, which is wild. It's wild, right? He's not the backup. He's in 3rd place.
He's got 2 better goalkeepers in Spain. That's crazy. Stan, is Sunday a friendly or a competitive game?
Again, this is another thing when people say, it's only the Charity Shield, it doesn't count. It's just what do they call it? It's a they don't call it a friendly.
Season opener.
No, there's another word they call it, sort of like a not a friendly, but like a pumped up friendly. They still put the word in there, friendly. It's not. I mean, the managers have it on their CV as a trophy. Yeah. I think it's equally as important, and it puts down a marker. It's the first. If you're in the if you're in the Charity Shield, it's your first game of the season.
If I'm an Arsenal player and I played in that Carabao Cup final, I wouldn't have been happy with the way you were watching Man City celebrate winning that trophy. And your first opportunity, okay, we played them in the at the Etihad in the league afterwards, but your first opportunity back in the new season would be, as you say, Stan, to set down that marker against Man City. You know they're going to be one of your main rivals for the Premier League title. You would want to renew that rivalry, and I know there's going to be some shenanigans between Gabriel and Haaland again, which is
imagine that
glorified friendly. That's what they call it, don't they? It's a glorified friendly. What does that even mean? It's a competitive game.
It is a competitive. It's a competitive friendly.
It's a friendly with a trophy. That's what it is.
So, well,
We'll
that's like
glorify-
well, it's higher than the Emirates Cup, isn't it? And there's a trophy at the end of that.
Yeah. Which
The manager doesn't have, Emirates Cup trophies on his CV. When he's going to the next job, he doesn't go, oh yeah, 2 pre-seasons we won the Emirates Cup twice, back to back. You don't, but a charity shield, you have to earn, first of all, you have to earn the spot to be in that place, right? You either have to have won the FA Cup or the league.
Yeah.
Or if you're playing a team that's done the double, then you're the next best thing, right?
yeah.
You're the runner-up. And so it's
Yep.
important. The team that you're playing against is equally as important because they're a team that's won something.
Yeah. As Tiger and Gunnar says, it's a statement game. You said it's the intent. It lets the public know if your team is ready for the fight of the Premier League that's going to come. You know what I mean? So Tony, it's a competitive game, Tony, right?
It's a friendly. Right?
Look at Real Betis in the friendly that we played against Real Betis. Do you think they just went out thinking, okay, we're going to have a bit of a kick about, get our legs? No, they went out there to play to win. Especially with we're going up against the team that has just won the Premier League. We wanna see how good we measure up. Players want to put themselves in the shop window. They want to make sure that they're on the manager's starting 11. They take it seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. Lonzo. This Sunday is a competitive game, right?
Mhm.
All right. We've gone through our defense and our midfield, our goalkeeper. We're pretty much picking the team here. So, Alonso, who's playing up front? What's the 3 positions up front on Sunday?
I guess Madueke, Eucharist, and Zolas.
Solis, yeah.
Kind of have to, right? I mean, Saka's not going to play. Eucharist is your best striker. And Zolas looks pretty good from what I've heard and seen, so that's what you kind of have to go with until if we make another signing or whatever happens. So either way, if we get another left winger, the first game is going to be Martinelli and Zolas because that left winger has to get integrated into the team. As is Saka, but Madueke seems that, or Dalman even. You know what? I put Dalman over Madueke this time.
Okay.
Just to be more, just to be unpredictable.
He's
I
probably
think-
played more. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that because Saka is unavailable, I would like to think that in the Charity Shield game, you will see Madueke, Dalman, Solis, and Martinelli all get minutes at some point, irrespective of who starts.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a game where maybe you start Martinelli. You allow Solis. It'll be his first time at Wembley. It's against Man City. It's a big game. Maybe you sit him to feel relaxed, soak in the atmosphere a little bit, watch the team play, and then he's brought into the game later. It all depends on what the manager's mindset is. Do you start with a Max Dalman and bring on Madueke, or do you start with Madueke? He knows the ropes. Bring on Dalman later on in the game.
Yeah, I don't think there's a good or bad way of doing that. If you're going to go with Madueke and Dalman, you got a little bit of youth and exuberance, and then you got a little bit more experience with Madueke. A professional, more of a professional player, a solid player.
I don't think it picks itself, even between Gyökeres and Havertz. I don't think there's a clear. There's not one player out of the two that that's the guy, that's the main guy, and the other one, you know what I mean? It could go either way.
It can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing when you're talking about how we've constructed our attack over the last 5 years. Could be a good thing. We're unpredictable, and both Kai Havertz and Victor Gyökeres can get the same numbers in a season, close to, right? Or then you have the wild card, Mikel Merino, who could come in the second half.
Very important player. And again, we're talking about the Arsenal starting 11. We've really gone through the midfield. Now we're talking about the front three. But I do think that Mikel Merino, is only because he was out of our minds for so much towards the end of last season because of his injury. But he's a very, very valuable player. We see what he does on the international stage. He comes on, he scores goals.
These are the kind of wild cards. We have some wild card players in our squad. Mikel Merino is definitely one of them. Calafiori is another one who gives us something different that looks it's a little bit different than what we're used to. And Lewis Skelly also.
Yeah, but there's a little difference there. Calafiori's pure chaos. Mourinho just knows where to be at.
Yeah,
He's one of the most
delivers.
positional aware players you'll ever see. He
delivers the checkmate.
Place.
He delivers the checkmate. He knows exactly where to be. Those kind of players are invaluable. They're going to get 25 to 30 minutes most games. They might not start every game, but within 20 to 25 minutes of being on the pitch, he's going to get a couple. They're going to get a couple of chances, and I don't remember Mikel Merino missing too many good chances. I can't remember when he gets in position.
No.
He doesn't miss.
They're either in the back of the net or they're on target.
Yeah, and he arrives like
or off
in
the
a position where he's not. He loses marker, or he's unable to be tracked. Aaron Ramsey used to do something similar. Right?
At some point, he's going to have to start games because this is a player that could walk into a lot of other teams in our league and be a starting player.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a long trip to Cardiff for Arsenal, and I understand that 3/4 of the stadium will be filled with Arsenal fans.
Is that where it's being played, at Cardiff, not Wembley?
Cardiff. Yeah.
Why is it being played at Wembley?
There might be some work. I think there's some work going on there, maybe. I'm not sure.
So it's the Millennium Stadium, okay.
35,000.
Aren't Arsenal expanding on the stadium?
They've been talking about it. I don't think they're actively doing anything with
it. It's not this year, right? Or is it next year?
I thought there was a plan to spend 500 million on extra seatings and making the seating more steeper so you can fit more seats in, right?
Yeah.
They've never committed to the number of seats. It sounds like they're just going to make more club seats that you make more money off of than actually increasing the capacity.
Yeah.
Tiger says he thinks there's an NFL game at Wembley.
Yeah, I was just looking at that as well.
Why can't they play that game? Why can't they play that game in the Millennium Stadium and the Charity Shield at Wembley? you know what I mean? It's a football stadium first and foremost, right? It's in London, the capital.
It's money, right? Wembley Stadium Sunday. I was googling the same thing.
Well, the Eagles play Jaguars.
There.
The Eagles play the Jaguars
out there
at 8:30 local time, so I think that is at Wembley
on Sunday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. At England, at Tottenham Stadium, right? The Eagles play Jaguars at Tottenham Stadium.
Okay.
I just don't care. Whatever.
I do care.
Right, here. We'll see if we can get a quick answer. Not a quick answer, but a correct answer.
Yeah.
Alexa, why is maturity still being played or not being played at Wembley?
Volume was low.
The volume is down. Right? Replay.
Anyway, it is nice to think that next Friday there'll be competitive Premier League football to talk about. Arsenal at home to Coventry. It hasn't been too bad. You know the way that some of the summers go by, and it's like been a long time since we had football. World Cup definitely helped to bridge that gap.
Alexa, why is maturity still not being played at Wembley?
The Community Shield isn't at Wembley because the weekend's tour hijacked the stadium August 14th, -19. So the FA shunted the match to Cardiff's Principality Stadium.
Concerts.
Oh, the weekend is playing there.
There you go. All right, I think we might have exhausted a lot of what we need to say tonight, so we could wrap this one up a bit early. Unless you have anything to throw into the pot.
We still have Fabio Vieira as a squad member as well.
You know what? I was thinking about talking about him about 20 or 30 minutes ago.
Oh, teabag.
He's got a lot of minutes, so this has to be with a view to getting a sale for him. And just before I came online, looking at Reece Nelson as well for $3 million, West Ham. You still would be disappointed about how we sell, right?
Well, we've never been able to break the Iwobi money. That was what, 40 million? That's our record.
Yeah.
And you look at these other clubs that are selling players for much more.
How is Nilsson still at Arsenal? That's
Who?
more. How is Reece still even at Arsenal?
Reece. Oh, Reece. I thought you said Danielson for a second.
I did as well.
No.
I heard Danielson. I was like, he's a Brazilian footballer who was with us 20 years ago.
Nope. Not what it
He's
is.
probably 46 years old.
18 years
I have
ago.
to find out now how old he is. But yeah, Danielson.
Wasn't it like 18 years
Reece
ago?
Nelson is a player who's had a lot of talent. And I think we should be doing better than $3 million. We undervalue the players leaving the club.
I think also like he's had a lot of injuries as well. It kind of dampened his ability to stay healthy and not get a regular first team football as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had good moments, but not enough consistent moments.
Yeah.
But again, these are two players that they go off on loan, and obviously I don't monitor them when they go off on loan, but they can't be doing that much because they get sent back. You know, the teams that are taking them on loan don't think, we've got to keep hold of this guy. Let's make something happen. A valuable part of the squad. And obviously Arsenal would be open to offers, but they come back.
Yeah.
I mean, how long could Fabio Vieira have left on his contract? He's been with us for some time now. His contract must be running down.
He was another one of those first out of the gate. We bought him pretty quickly for 34, 35 million. And can I just say, Danielson, 38 years old right now. So that's who I thought he said, Danielson. Let's see, Fabio Vieira contract, right? There we go. He's under contract through 2027, June of 2027.
So he's free to go.
So that's another one that in January, could start talking to someone outside of the Premier League and leave on a free.
How much did Arsenal pay for him? Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully he gets a move. You know what I mean? When is Teabag leaving? You know? When is Teabag leaving this Tiger? You know? this is I like what Andrea Berta has done for us in terms of bringing players in, his strategy, but I need to be satisfied by his ability to move players on as well. You know what I mean?
Can Teabag be the new Carl Dickinson?
He could be the new who?
Zuko.
Who? Honey?
Carl
Rico.
Dickinson. That was he was at Arsenal for like 9 years or whatever he was there.
Yeah.
Hardly ever played for it.
I mean, it can't be good for the player either, you know? He's
Yeah.
getting bounced around on loan. He'd like to find a place for him to play as well, where we could wish him the best. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you're trying to start a family or whatever, and you're getting bounced around like that, that has to be hard on you.
Yeah. So that's where we are. We spent enough time on Fabio Vieira.
Good old Teabag.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he's been getting a lot of minutes in pre-season, so what happens when the season starts? Is he on the bench, or does he not even make the bench? I mean, you know what I mean?
You know what?
He'll be on the bench.
I would say, with the absence of Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka, it will free some spots up, right, for the subs bench. But I just don't know if there's going to be enough spots freed up for Fabio Vieira.
Is he going to make the bench ahead of, say, a Miles Lewis-Skelly, Ethan Ranieri? Is he, you know what I mean?
No.
A Max Dowman?
I don't think so.
A Gabriel Jesus even?
No.
You know what I mean?
He's like, no.
I just think he would be very. You know, when you were kids, right? When you were picking sides. Fabio Vieira is the kid that is the last one to get picked. You know what I mean?
I was always the second last to get picked, and the only reason I wasn't the last guy was because there was another guy that actually smelt of nappies. So he was always after me at last. If it wasn't for him, I'd be last.
Wow. Thank heavens for him, for those kind of people then, right? You didn't have to be last.
That wasn't Tony Piss Pants.
I knew.
It wasn't.
I always knew like I wasn't getting picked until a certain time. Laid on. I used to be picked early. Tiger and Gunner was pretty good, I'd say, back in the day. Huh?
In fact, I just stopped. Basically, I think when I got into the third year of my secondary school, I didn't even bother going to PE anymore. I just didn't go. In fact, I've got all of my school reports, and for 1 year, for PE, the teacher just wrote, "Not seen." That's all it says. Not seen. Never went.
What were you doing, Stan?
Smoked a cigarette somewhere else, probably. Up to no good, but I didn't dig PE at all. I thought, well, I'm not going to grow up to be I don't want to run marathons for a living. I don't want to be a gymnast for a living. I'm not getting picked for football, so why bother going? I'm going to play cricket, or rugby. Just
Those were the days, my friend. Those were the days, my friend. So it's Tiger and Gunner. All right, we'll leave it there. Stan.
What sports did you play in PE in Ireland, right?
Oh, me. They wanted me to do boxing at some point. I was not a boxer. You know what I mean? There was soccer. Oh, basketball. I was really bad at basketball as well. We had an American PE coach, and he wanted us to play basketball. He was very bad, um, very hard on us for playing basketball. But those are the kind of weird things that I play. Yeah, you know. So, take us. We're gonna say goodbye now, right? We're gonna say goodnight. I see Stan. He's ready to get on to the next part of his day, whatever that is. Stan, you can do whatever you want now for the rest of the night.
Yeah, make some dinner, watch a bit of TV.
Thanks for joining, Stan. Alonzo, take us out of here. And, well, we'll give Tony the last word, but say a few words, Alonzo.
I play sports too, Tony. Okay.
Yeah, but
Right.
he was just
So
intrigued about Ireland.
yeah.
No,
So
but I was just
I'm looking
curious
forward to
about
seeing how
PE.
Arsenal does this year. You know, I know people are going to complain about not getting enough players in and etc. And then our rumors happening around this time of year too. Players coming in. So whatever happens, I think Berta and Arteta will figure it out. They're going looking forward to FA Community Shield and looking forward next Friday.
All right. Yeah, next Friday at home to Coventry. Tony, say goodnight, but you can say a few more words than just that.
We're ready for the season to start. We're ready to see what will look like after the window closes. Hopefully, we have a unit that we can compete in the Champions League and the Premier League. But there's a lot left that needs to happen, and hopefully it happens. And
Yeah.
hopefully I'm able to be here next Thursday because Wednesday I might have my shoulder replaced.
Okay.
Yay!
With what?
Reconstruct
Metal.
titanium.
Metal and
Lego.
Just snap
Lego
it off
pieces.
here and attach it back on. Remember the Lego man? You turn the arm up and then go like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, I guess in Mikel and Andrea Berta, we must trust. And one thing we always remember from previous seasons, wait until the window closes and then we take a big look at what's going on out there. You know what I mean? So thanks everybody for being here. This is Arsenal Fan Circle signing off. Until next time, we'll see you. Take care of yourselves, everybody. Enjoy the weekend and the Charity Shield.
Toodaloo.
I'm going to 1-0, mate. Nigel, thanks for being here as well. Have a great evening. Great weekend.